Eh? Eh? Oh, I bet you're seeing things that I've never seen. So, players, as you've probably seen on Twitter, I recently bought a brand new camera. 4K adoption is much better than we thought. All the adoption rate of 4K televisions is going way faster than HD adoption, and the next console generation is going to give us 8K video, possibly 8K graphics. You gotta keep up with the Joneses, I guess. While we're at it, we're shooting in 4K. In the video where I introduced our ability to shoot in HD, which was a long time ago, I did a close shot of my teeth like this, and I don't know if I can get this close without getting out of focus. So. But as you know, the story of 963, me and my dad were on our way to go see Alien vs. Predator. Yeah, that Alien vs. Predator. It was on our way to the movie where he said that he could shoot a better movie by getting out his video camera and linking up 2 VCRs to doing the editing. And I'm thinking to myself, we don't have to do that. I can digitize the video into the computer with a capture card and work with it that way. I was already trying to preserve some memories that were shot on VHS during the 80s and 90s. So let's go through the history of our cameras here. Starting with this guy right here. This is basically where we got started. This is a JVC GR SXM 240U. This is the camera that was used to film The Unknown Creature and Gateway to Hell and a few segments of Bracco and Voice Over Insanity. It's shot on VHS-C. These small tapes right here. If you're remembering seeing smaller VHS tapes during the 80s and 90s, it's not Mandela effect. It is real. So, and trust me, Mandela effect doesn't exist. But as time went on, everyone started was shooting on digital, and this is basically analog, even though it has a digital sensor. But it records onto an analog format, but I could plug this directly into the capture card without using any tape whatsoever and get some really good, outstanding results. You've probably seen the old Gateway to Hell web documentary, which I'll link in the description below. And this, I shot it with this using no tape, going straight to the computer. This has a view screen that can come out like this. You can watch what you're recording from there, and if you want to go really old school, you can look through a viewfinder like this. Hi, But this thing recently died. I can't record on it anymore. When it was time to do our first web series, I knew we had to go digital. So that's when we got this. It's not on here, but I got the original box right here. See? Now, this is the Samsung SC D382. It has like a 34x optical zoom. It can it shoots on a mini DV. It doesn't have a viewfinder. Now, I haven't powered this thing on in a long time, but it's still got a tape in it. See? Still got tape. And this would be popping out if it had power. This was used to shoot Ziggy the Maniac, but that was the first season. When it came to shoot season 2, I knew we had to upgrade to HD. And that's where I figured we should use this guy. This is the Canon Vixia HV40. This is a very popular model right here. For one, unlike its predecessors, the HV20 and 30, this can film 24 frames a second. Very accurate to film. Just in case you had to shoot your movie on this and have it printed onto film, because even back then, when this camera was first released, movies were still being printed onto a 35mm film to be released into the theaters. I think even up to 2010, Machete was shot in HD. And Avatar was shot on HD. They hadn't had they couldn't put 4K cameras in the 3D rigs quite yet. But just like the Samsung, this too shoots on mini DV. They had higher quality tapes that you could put in this to get better picture if you wanted to, but the thing is, you don't really need those. You could have bought any off-the-shelf DV tapes and record it that way. And just like the other one, this one still has a tape in it. The entirety of Season 2 was shot on this, plus several other YouTube videos, some video diaries and whatnot, and some vlogs. No, not vlogs. I have been using my iPod for vlogging sometimes. But when I shot my ice bucket challenge video, I noticed a problem. I wasn't able to send the video to the computer with the DV. So this port right here is damaged. So I knew that I needed a new camera. That 3D camera that I shot that 4th of July special of Ziggy the Maniac, I actually used two. One for the wide shots, the other for another for close-ups. But this was used to shoot the Halloween special and almost every other video to date. This is the Canon Vixia HFR 500. It records onto SD cards And one thing about this camera, it can shoot up to 60 frames a second. About the same frame rate as video games nowadays. And this right here, the lens cap, that manually opens and closes. So you got to keep that in mind when you're using it. This one also had a lens cap, but when you turn it on, it opens up automatically. So let's go ahead and switch this off and show you the new guy. Well, I can scale this footage up easily. Now, here is the little guy right here. This is our new 4K little beast. Little beast. This guy we're shooting on, we just shot on, is the GoPro Hero 7 Black. But you might see it's a little different because as you can see, this one is modified. It came from a company called Backbone, and it's branded the H7 Pro. And this is out of all the cameras that I've shown you so far, this is one thing, though this thing has one thing those other cameras don't have. I can actually take the lens off. It actually comes with this cap right here. Now the cap screws in like that, and thing is it's basically two pieces. This is one piece of the cap. Right here I could fit a lens that requires a longer length, but for the factory lens, the standard fisheye lens, we take this thing off entirely. Now, but I forgot to mention that just like this one that I'm shooting on right now, it records onto SD cards. Now, the card that I'm shooting on now is 128 gigabytes. And the thing is, it's not a full-size card, it's a micro SD inside an adapter. And this uses micro SD cards too, so if you can use it on your Nintendo Switch, you can probably use it on this too. Every single one of the cameras has a battery that can be taken on and off. Switch, as usual. That GoPro branded battery, it's got that too, because there's some sort of a firmware. The firmware in these cameras that make it where you can't use any kind of off-brand battery most of the time. Even though I can get the lenses from Backbone, I got to get extra batteries from GoPro. And when I got this, it didn't have a charge. I actually plugged it into my Nintendo Switch dock and charged it as if it were my my Switch Pro controller. After shooting this, I shot 15 minutes of raw footage just now, and I could have swore this thing almost burnt my fingers. Because I noticed the standard GoPro would have a plastic outer shell, but this is metal. And I've had metal outer shells on these other cameras before, and this one is going really, really hot. I think Walter Murch said that when he was making a movie, they had a projector that was running so hot, they had to put bags of ice on the projector to keep it from overheating.
In order to cool the projector, we had a series of those ice bags like you'd think of drunk people wearing on their head. But they were literally that, these bags of ice with little lid, and you had to store 6 of them in the refrigerator before you projected a film, because every half hour or so you'd have to change this ice pack on the motor.
And talk about liquid cooling. Think about when those bags, when the ice melts, man. Basically ruin your film. When I'm not using the lens, it's safely secured in this bag right here. Trying to touch the bottom here. Right here. Something I've never really had before. When Backbone sent me this, they also sent me this case, because this thing is very high maintenance. It's like some real crazy girlfriend that isn't cheap. You know the type, ladies. You know, guys, you know yourselves. Yeah, ladies. I'm not naming names, but I can think of a few. High maintenance chicks. At least my girlfriend's not so high maintenance, even though she could use some fixing in her lower back right here. So, let's, so, I'm probably going to still use this guy, because, the picture that I get from this is, still really good. But if I need a native 4K, I'm probably going to be using this. As soon as I, can afford some, new lenses, I'll be shooting 4K, man. I can remember when the Red 1 was the only game in town that could allow you to shoot in 4K. But now that I can hold this in my hand, sky's the limit.